I invite you to turn to your neighbor and greet the inherent worth and dignity of all around you. I'm Reverend Bob Renjilian. I welcome you here to our worship this morning. Thank you all for coming out and being part of this community, whether you're a newcomer to this or not. We welcome people of all ages, all sexual orientations, gender identities, whatever nationality you are from, whatever ways you identify yourself, you are welcome here in this place. So I'm glad you found your way. I have a few announcements and then a special announcement this morning. One is this afternoon, the Jewish community of Brevard has invited us to come and take part in their Hanukkah celebration, 5:30 at Sacred Heart Catholic Church. You are welcome to attend and be part of that. You'll also see on our altar here, I have one candle ready to go in the service today. This evening is the start of Hanukkah. We have at 5:30 next Sunday, we have our solstice service. And I believe that's both out at the fire pit and inside. And hopefully the weather cooperates. And thank you, Janice. And we're starting inside. Is there anything outside? Nothing. Okay. Doesn't matter what the weather will be then. We're fine. Yeah, good. And but please, we have so many roots as Unitarian Universalists and traditions that we embrace, and to be able to include the pagan side to all that we do in this season is important. I also noticed that we have a slide for our Christmas Eve services, and it also says that there'll be a special collection taken at Christmas Eve services. That's the only time we have a special collection for the minister's discretionary fund. And if you won't happen to be here, it says you can pass along a check to UUTC, or you can put minister's discretionary fund on in the memo, or UUTC minister's discretionary fund in the line itself. I'll explain it all if you need that explanation. But we're always glad to have more to help people who are in our congregation who's in financial need. We will close offices between Christmas and New Year's. It's not technically allowable in our personnel policy, but I'm the supervisor of staff and I say, you know what, we have staff who have children and the children are out of school, and it's really nice that they could have time with their kids. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're off duty. If you're sending in your pledge check, you're catching up before the IRS is going to check to see whether you paid all your money up for the year. We'll be checking the mailboxes and doing deposits, and we can answer questions for you. And I'm available for pastoral care during that time as well. It just means the office is closed. So when you show up and say, well, I was going to go just in the building. No, you aren't. No. Those are our most pressing and important announcements. Not that there isn't 100 other things going on, there are. But I invite Nancy Richards to come up to the pulpit and give us a special announcement.
So you won't be able to pretend that you couldn't hear me.
Yeah.
So many of you probably know that every Friday the office sends out the UU update. How many of you read the UU update this week? Okay, a few, but not everyone. So one thing that was in there was a copy of an email that I sent to my relatives who live far away, my friends who live far away, anybody I could think of to send to anywhere, and it was all about our raffle that we're conducting, the Dinner for Two Anywhere in the World, or alternatively, the Dinner for Four Anywhere in the Country. Not the Dinner for Four, the dinner, two dinners for two anywhere in the country with 4 nights of lodging and airfare. So it looked like in the UU update, what I was asking you to do was to buy one ticket to this raffle. That is not correct. I was asking you for a lot more than that. We need to sell tickets to this raffle because it's one of our big fundraisers for the year, and we need help doing it. So I sent you that little email as something that's already written that explains everything about this raffle, that you could go in there, cut and paste it, and copy it into an email of your own that you will send to everybody you can think of. It's not like you're begging for money for yourself. What you're doing is offering people a fantastic opportunity to win a wonderful prize. At the most, if we sell all 1,000 tickets, they'll have for one ticket, one $20 ticket. Everybody can afford that. One ticket, they'll have one chance in 1,000 of winning. And we might not sell all 1,000, so their chances of winning will get even better. It's a great prize, and it's a great blessing to this congregation and to our community, because the money that you spend all goes to doing our good works. So I would like you to think about trying to sell, every single one of you, trying to sell at least 10 tickets. You could do this by buying them yourself and giving them to your friends. If you're too shy to ask anybody to hand over $20, you could do it that way. But if you can't afford to do it that way, ask people, would you like to win this prize? Once you explain what the prize is, almost everybody gets out their wallet and says, yeah, sign me up. I'm actually running a little promotion down at Habitat for Humanity, my favorite charity, where I told them if they would buy at least one ticket to this raffle, I would give the person another ticket. So they asked me to come this week and bring a whole pile of tickets because they all want to sign up. And they want to get this free prize too. Okay, that's fine. So please, RK will have people stationed out front with tickets that you can pick up and take. You can pre-buy them, you can sell them to your friends, or you can do it with the QR code on the email and on the packet. We need to get these tickets sold. We have until January 5th to sell them, but we need to sell a lot more between now and then. So please, sign up and do it, and I will thank you.
We now have the chance to make it so that I don't have to invent another fundraiser. So thank you, Nancy, for your cheering us along. Now's the time to enter into the beauty of worship with the wonderful music from our pianist, Michael Jeffrey Stevens.
Good morning. My name is Sharon Gublow. I'm the worship associate for this morning. The chalice lighting will be read in unison. The words are from Joseph M. Cherry. As we gather together for worship this morning, being both near and far, we light our chalice as we do each week. It is a symbol of our faith. May its light be a beacon of hope for the many. Those who feel lost, those who feel threat, those who feel tired, those who are uncertain. May our beacon of hope help us find home, help us feel safe, give us respite, and honor our searching minds and spirits.
I note that we have several notes left here for me to read for candles this morning. I will read these. I will also read the ones that I have gathered electronically through the week. A candle for care and healing for Jean Rose, recovering from melanoma surgery earlier this week. A candle for Don Odell for healing and health as he continues to deal with bladder issues and doctor's appointments. A candle from Janet Benway for her brother who is in hospice facing kidney failure and facing the reality of his lifespan. A candle for Lauren Norton's grandson, Cameron, who still has lung issues with a lung infection that won't resolve and is using a percussive vest and nebulizer. Thankfully, he is very active, which helps him with this condition. Dan Clem has asked for prayers for Tim as Dan goes out to see his son, Tim. A candle of joy for the artistic talents of the youth in our midst, in particular Sienna and Jovi, whose window art you may see when you go downtown and see the shop's decorated windows, either the Realty shop just before the traffic light or the Blue Ridge Bakery. I asked for a candle for my hometown, remembering the anniversary of the Newtown school shooting. India and Randall are snowbirding and leaving Monday and returning late March. So let's light this candle for safe travels and safe return. Loie lights a candle of hope for Don and Linda Lander in this difficult time. Loie also lights a candle of hope for those of us struggling with mental illness, including the shooter. A candle of sorrow for yet more parents who lose their children far too soon. Nancy and Carol light a candle for our sister-in-law, Carol, as she faces the one-year anniversary of our brother John's death, and we are sending her love. A candle for Bobby King and Jackie Jenkins, the service for their son that occurred this weekend at the Lutheran Church. And let's light a candle for those things not yet shared, perhaps from the folks who are online watching, or someone in our midst who is not yet ready to share their joy or their sorrow. May the lights here lift up with their light, their warmth. O Spirit of love and life, we pray that these candles are felt in our community and lifted up in our prayers in all that we hope for. Blessings on all. Amen. Blessed be. I think while we have a moment in that prayerful spirit, let us stay seated and sing together Spirit of Life.
The opening words are written by Jan Such Picard, Candles and Conifers, by Wild Goose Publications from the Iona community. Carrying a candle from one little place of shelter to another is an act of love. To move through the huge and hungry darkness, step by step, against the invisible wind that blows forever around the world. Carrying a candle is an act of foolhardy hope. Surely it will be blown out. The wind is contemptuous. The darkness cannot comprehend it. How much light can this tiny little flame shed on all the great issues of the day? It is as helpless as a newborn child. Look how the human hand that cradles it has become translucent, fragile and beautiful, foolish and loving, step by step. The wind is stronger than this hand, and that darkness infinite around this tiny here and now flame that wavers but keeps burning. Carried with such care through an uncaring world from one little place of shelter to another, an act of love. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never put it out. Our opening hymn is number 18, 118. Boy, This Little Light of Mine. The words will be on the screen.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. before we have our story, which turns to a different holiday, we're going to take the light of our chalice, bring it over to the Advent candles, and light our 3 Advent candles for this third week, third Sunday. And then we're going to try again. For hope, for peace. Come on, peace. It's hard, I know. And for joy. Kevin, come on up.
Good morning. My name's Kevin Lausch, and for our Wisdom for All Ages today, we have the book called One Candle. It's by Eve Bunting, illustrations by K. Wendy Pop. It's a very important book for us. So let's make sure I have the clicker on right. One Candle. This Hanukkah is like every other one. The house is filled with the smell of good food, and family are coming here. Our great Aunt Rose is here. She's my grandma's sister. There's mom and dad and 3 kids and my uncle and his family. When grandma and grandpa arrive at the house, dad gets to hug them first, and grandma brings the potato. Grandma puts the big potato on the plate in the middle of the table, and Great Aunt Rose leans to touch it with a trembling hand. Her glasses are misted over. Poor Great Aunt Rose, my cousin Nancy whispers. She's crying again this year. You'd cry too if you were her, says my sister Ruth. After sunset, we light 1 candle in menorah with the shamash for the first night of Hanukkah, say special prayers, and take our places at the table. After we've eaten, Mom looks at Grandma. It's time, Mama. Grandma nods. Then Dad goes to the kitchen and brings back the things that Grandma will need. Grandma takes the small knife and begins to hollow out the potato. We watch as Grandma piles the small pieces of scooped out potato on her plate. Tell us about the bad time, Mama, Mom says. Her voice is soft and loving. We lean forward. We know this story by heart, but we want to hear it again. To us, this is Hanukkah. Grandma takes Granite Rose's hand. Well, it happened when we were young. We were separated from our families and put into a camp. It was called Buchenwald. That was in Germany. There was a war on then, and Germans did not like the Jews. The camp was the worst prison you could imagine, Grandma says. We were always hungry, always cold. There were 7 women in our barracks, but at least Rose and I were together. Great Aunt Rose begins to whisper the names of the other women, the way you'd say a prayer. The older woman worked in the fields, Grandma continues. Rose and I worked in the kitchens. We were small and thin. It's a marvel they even kept us. We helped cook for the officers. Grandma leans back in her chair and closes her eyes, and her chin quivers. All that wonderful food, and none for us. I look around the table. I'm full of Mom's delicious cooking, and there's still leftovers. I can't imagine being hungry. Hanukkah was coming, Grandma says. We knew because we kept the dates written on a hidden little piece of paper. Working there in the kitchen, I had an idea. Little by little, I smuggled out things that we would need. A blob of margarine on a little piece of paper, just enough to hide in my hand. 2 matches. And on the day before Hanukkah, 1 potato. Not a big one like this. I brought it out under my skirt. Grandma puts her hand over her heart. Oh, I was so frightened. I thought my chest would burst with fear. The guards at the door looked at us suspiciously. Aunt Rose walked beside me, and she gave me courage. Grand Rose shakes her head. I had no courage to give you, Lily. You held me up, Grandma said. What would they have done if they caught you? Asked my sister Ruth. Thank you, Jack. What would they have done if they caught you? Asked my sister Ruth. Aunt Rose gives a little moan. When we got back to the barracks, the woman couldn't believe what I had done. A potato, heaven. Were we going to eat it right away? No, that's not why I took the risk. Grandma looks around the table at each of us. We know why she took the risk. I hollowed out part of that potato the way I did to this one. Grandma touches the potato and stares at it. We ate the pieces I'd saved. And then we put the margarine I stole into the potato, pulled a thread from Rose's skirt to make a wick, and we had us 1 candle for Hanukkah. Hanukkah lifted us, Grandma said, and there were tears in her eyes. It lifted us to the stars. Bitsy, the youngest child, screwed up her face. How could it lift you, Grandma? In our mind, in our hearts. Now we watch as Grandma pours oil into the potato and lights the wick that I made from twisted threads. We have a flame. We have a candle. Grandma wipes away her tears, and we all stand up. May I take it, I ask? Yes, Grandma says. I set the candle on the windowsill, and it glows back on itself in the dark glass. We go outside. Dad switched off the house light, and the Hanukkah candle has burned itself away. On the window is 1 steady flame. My sister Ruth whispers in my ear, why do you think Grandma wants to do this every year? I shrug my shoulders because I don't know for sure. But I think it has to do with being strong in the bad times and remembering it in the good times. And for the women in Grandma's barracks and the others who did not come out. Grandpa passes the little glasses of sweet wine to the grown-ups and grape juice to us. We raise the glasses towards the flame. L'chaim, Grandma says, to life we chant. And in that moment, we are lifted to the stars. So in this time, let us remember hope, because we all need it. Now, Jack, could you bring up the candle, please? And we'll sing the kids out. Thank you.
You and a blessing, peace be with you and a blessing, peace be with you and a blessing, as you leave us now. Founded during the time of the rise of the Nazis, the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee worked and continues to work to help liberate folks, to bring, in conjunction with local organizations and other nonprofits, basic needs, things that help support people in their, well, survival and thriving in this world. Throughout the years, Unitarian Universalist congregations have taken the holiday time to collect monies. I know when I was a kid, it was putting pennies or coins into little boxes. In this congregation, we choose this time to do a opportunity for us to put some money into the envelope in our collection basket to go towards the service committee as our annual support to them, for which they are grateful. I ask that you now give generously to this church in the basket or into the envelope for the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. We will now gratefully receive the morning offering. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Gypsy. What is given in love, we receive with joy and say, thank you. In whatever way you meditate, in whatever way you find your way out of your own ego, but knowing your own light, lifted into connection with the energy of the universe, or God, or Goddess, or Spirit, now is the time. Brief moment, prayer and meditation. Spirit of love and life, we are gathered here today. Understand that in this world there are so many things going wrong. Violence, yet again in the news, at Brown University this time. Years ago, for the children in Sandy Hook, Newtown, Connecticut schools. And in between, it seems, an unfolding number of ways in this world, in the Middle East, in Africa, in every continent, evidences of the ways in which we do not follow the precepts that were handed down by the angels to the shepherds in the Advent, in the beginning, to go and see. Spirit of love and life, our hearts lift up with each candle we light in a sense of hope, even in our own terror and the stories of those we know have been through sometimes worse than we have, the hope in lighting a candle. May we never put our own light under a bushel. May we help others whose light has gone out in the fragility of trying to move through the air without seeing it extinguished. May we help reignite in the hearts of others some sense of hope. These, the prayers of our hearts and the meditations of our minds, we hold now in the silence. In the names of all those known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind, we say, Amen. Blessed be.
In the last quarter of the 18th century, the musical scene in Europe was shaped by Mozart, and Beethoven was to join him a little later, with the classical music that we still enjoy today. The musical scene in our country, the United States, at a time was very different. It was in large part in New England at least, shaped by singing schools, which were led by people like William Billings and our guy today, Daniel Reed. The song that we're going to sing today is one of the many songs that came out of the shaped note culture of the Middle Ages, of New England, and then is still alive here in the South particularly, but also in many other places in the United States and in Europe, in Germany and Ireland particularly. The song that we will sing today is what is called a fuguing tune. The first part of it, we're all together singing the same words, and in the second part, the refrain, the basses come in, and then the tenors join, and then the altos, and then the sopranos, and there's a fuguing effect there. Not a formal fugue in the way that Bach or Mozart would have composed it, but it was called a fuguing tune. And the words today are, while shepherds watched their flock by night, all seated on the ground, the angel of the Lord came down, and glory shone around.
Before I get into the reading and the sermon, you'll notice there are some hymn books stacked on the sides. We're going to end this with a Hanukkah song. And there are some folks who really like to know what the notes are as they're singing, not just the words. And this is a pretty lively one, and we only sing it once a year. So if you are the kind of person who would love to read along, the choir has already gone through it before, but it's going to be Light One Candle is the name of it. So the ushers can help you with that. If you raise your hand, ask for a hymn book, we can do that. The reading I have is a winter meditation by Denise Levertov. The bare trees have made up their seed bundles. They are ready now. The warm brown light pauses briefly, shrugs, and moves on. They are ready now to play dead for a while. I, human, have not as yet devised how to obtain such a privilege. Their spring will find them rested. I and my kind battle a wakeful way to ours. The sermon today is Hope in Holiday Lights, and we'll have these three glowing. We have our chalice glowing. We will, at the very end, about 6 hours early, light the Hanukkah candle with the blessings. The hope in the holidays, the chance in the holidays to know something in this world is quite literally darkening. Now, it used to be believed that the sun was going away, and we'd have to invite the sun back. I mean, we'll talk more about that next week when we talk a little bit about the pagan roots in the holiday season. But what do people do in some of the hardest times? Well, we light a candle. Last week we were told we can turn on a light bulb, and thank a Unitarian Universalist for that. Before that, it was somehow, some way, as the children's story, or actually we call it Wisdom for All Ages, because we all needed to learn it. That story of a person at Buchenwald who carved out a potato, put some oil in the form of margarine into it and some thread, and lit a light on Hanukkah. In one of the nastiest places and times ever. Scary. Hope in that time. And that's something of the Hanukkah story, to know that a militant, tyrannical regime would come in and wreck your temple, your religious building, fight you all. And then, if you happen to get back your territory and begin to lead your lives again, to try to take your brooms to the place, and clean things up and re-sanctify the space and say, let us light the lamp. And the Hanukkah story is that when everything was smashed and ruined and the temple reopened, there was only enough light for one day. Only enough oil to go for the one day. Now, I saw Sharon Kuglo, our worship associate, get more oil for our chalice this morning. We have a supply. We have no problem. And for Unitarian Universalists, the story about how the lamp had to be sanctified is kind of not necessarily our tradition. I mean, we haven't been lighting chalices forever and ever. I don't remember as a kid seeing a chalice except in the symbol of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, because it was their official symbol as they went out to rescue people from the Nazis. But it came on by the time I was entering ministry that we decided, we like that story of the service committee having a light in the world. And so we started lighting it. But we don't sanctify our oil. There is no particular prayer we say. We go over to Ace Hardware and we get some, and then we bring it back. But that wasn't the case for the Jewish people. The Maccabees needing to say the prayers. Okay, we got our building back. We can worship again. We can be us the way we want to be us, but we need to sanctify the oil. We need to say our prayers, and we need to process it cleanly. And so, as they were going about that, it took days for them to make it all work. And that's the Hanukkah story, the miracle of Hanukkah, which isn't the biggest story in Judaism, but it's this seasonal story, is for 8 days the light kept going until they had more. This makes no sense. Come on, Unitarian Universalists. If you have 1 day worth of oil, how do you make it go 8 days? It's a miracle. Unitarian Universalists have very few stories in which we can say it's a miracle. But within Judaism, this is one of theirs, the biggest piece of this story. It was a miracle. And for 8 days. Or for that story of the grandmother and great aunt in Buchenwald. To carve out something that could act as the candle at the start of Hanukkah and have a light. It was bravery that brought the miracle. I think that's what I take away from this. Later, when the temple was destroyed, gone again, you know, the Wailing Wall, suspected to be one little remaining part. When the Jewish people were scattered, they began to know that they could have an identity and a holiness even in their own homes, which is why the Hanukkah menorah is put into a window to be seen in the world. There's a photograph from Germany in the early 1930s with a menorah shining outside, which is what you do with it. You don't hide it. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Put it in the window and shine it. And the person took the picture of the menorah so that you could see in the evening as the dusk was there what was behind it. And it was an official government building with a swastika flag on it. The window was facing that. And the hope of our holidays is that no matter how scattered we get, literally or figuratively, that we too might learn from this. To put our light out there, to make it work. Now, I'm going to end this with the actual blessings that are said on the first night of Hanukkah. For those of you of Jewish background, I will be saying the first part of Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, in Hebrew. So you can hear those words. Have that connection. And then for all of us who just know the English, I'm going to continue the prayer in English. So before lighting, it is traditional to, after the candles have been put in, and Hebrew is written right to left, so candles are put at that end first. We recite the 3 blessings on the first night, and then just 2 on every night thereafter. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who made us holy through your commandments and commanded us to kindle the Hanukkah lights. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who performed wondrous deeds for our ancestors in those ancient days of this season. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given us life and sustained us and enabled us to reach this season. Please rise and join, as you're willing and able, into our closing hymn, Light One Candle. It is 221 for those of you with hymn books. 221. Light one candle for the Maccabee children, with thanks that their light didn't die. Light one candle for the men they endured, when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. But light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. Light one candle for those who are suffering the pain we lived so long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in, that anger won't tear us apart. And light one candle to bring us together with peace as the song in our heart. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. What is the memory that's valued so highly? We keep it alive in that flame. What's the commitment to those who have died when we cry out they've not died in vain? Out of living hopes for always believing that justice will somehow prevail. And this is the burden, and this is the promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. After singing that, it would seem strange for me to extinguish the light. And yet, I will extinguish our chalice, because it is our tradition to open and close the circle in that way. May you, as you go out, remember, no matter what of the holy seems to have been destroyed all around us, there may yet be a miracle that we can, with bravery, find a way and a light, uncover our own bushel, take it down, and have our light shining in this world. May you bring your light out. That's all this world ever needs, is you. Blessing be. Amen.
2000